Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com. Today we're talking about survivorship bias in Venezuela. In case you don't know the term, this let's say fallacy that usually is gravitating towards success. Well, there is a bunch of videos on YouTube on what is survivorship bias. Basically, is this term that was coined by a Hungarian mathematician on World War II. They evaluated why 90% of the aircraft or the U.S. aircraft are being, dying or just taken down, and only 10% of such aircraft had survived the different military operations that they had back then. So the militaries, the generals, the admirals, they thought because the 10% of the aircraft that survived, they had damage on their wings, and the tail. That's right. And the idea of the militaries was to reinforce the wings and the tails of the plane. And the mathematician said, no, you are focusing only on the surviving planes. You have to think about the 90% of the planes that didn't survive. So you have to do quite the opposite. You have to reinforce the engines that is why they survived on the first place, not on the wings. So that's how the term survivorship bias was going. So apply to everyday life. What happens is if you want to measure success and you want to replicate success, you usually investigate, you research on successful people, successful cases, successful businesses, and that's a fallacy because in order to achieve success, you have to look on the things that they didn't achieve success and why such people or such businesses or whatever may be the case didn't achieve success, usually by reasons that are beyond their control. So what happens is that in life, most likely, the reason why someone or something is successful is because they have a special traits, special abilities, and of course, there is merit on achieving success. Usually requires a lot of talent, a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, doing a lot of things well. But usually many people or many businesses that achieve great things is not because they work hard, because also they work hard, but they didn't achieve success because something outside of their control didn't went right or most likely went wrong. And that's why usually successful people and successful businesses are misguided towards they think they just by themselves, they work very hard, and that's why, hurrah, they are very special. And most likely it's not the case because many people work hard and many people have special traits and abilities and they're trying to achieve something spectacular but didn't make the case because achieving a great thing, being successful, is a low probability endeavor because many things that they don't depend on people, on businesses, don't go on their favor. And when they are successful, it's because this low probability that everything is done correctly and nothing outside of their control went bad is that when you achieve success. Also, how Machiavelli defined as virtue and fortune. In order to be successful, you need virtue, of course, the things that are on your control, things that you do great, that you are good, that you work hard, and so on and so on. And fortune is the things that are outside of your control also have to go right in order to be successful. Now, how survivorship bias translates here in Venezuela? Well, here in Venezuela, the society has been, fractured because of all of the things, the political, 80% GDP collapse last decade. So we have a very fractured society because you have a bunch of people, very hardworking people, very valuable people, and also many good businesses that fail to be successful because they did everything right, went to school, worked hard, get a degree, or they started a business, did everything right on this business, and everything collapsed because, like I said, virtue and fortune, they had the virtue, the fortune was 80% GDP collapse. Remember, that's not fortune at all. So the people who did became successful is because just a combination of a lot of things, a lot of great timing for their specific endeavor. So they, of course, they have merit, they work hard, and they were resilient. That's probably the thing they have in common. Successful people here in Venezuela are very, 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 very resilient, and and they think that everyone can do it in Venezuela. You can be successful, and so on and so on. And actually, you can be successful as well here in Venezuela, well, depending on your personal endeavor. However, there are a lot of things that went bad for the people who didn't make it, and it's something that you have to consider when, if, and when you come here to Venezuela. Is that many people who didn't make it is not because they didn't work hard, because they are not smart, or businesses that they had a great business model, but they just failed just because Venezuela is a very very hard place in order to achieve success for the average Venezuelan. You have to take into account on that regard. And the people actually, most people that are rich in Venezuela, I'll say over 90% are either what we call enchufados. We already talked about the enchufados, people close to the government. They receive a lot of facilities in order to become successful because, the government basically controls, on most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, they control the means of production, the factors of production, and the people close to the government, of course, they got access to the means of production. That's one hand. Also, we have a bunch of people that are rich kids that also, and also we have the enchufado rich kids. We have a bunch of those as well. But we have the traditional rich kid that on the 80s, their parents, 80s, 90s, or early 2000s, it was quite simple to make business here in Venezuela. It's very easy. You can recoup your initial investment just in 1 or 2 years, and they did it so on and so on and so on, and that has a lot of merit. Now these rich kids, they don't know anything about, resilience or businesses. Actually, of course, they know the basic operational things, and now they think they are, the big shots and just are stupid rich kids. Anyway, and you have also a handful of people, professionals, and also entrepreneurs that became successful here in Venezuela. So shout out to them. Fully meritocratic, of course, many things, like I said before, survivorship bias. When they went good, things that they didn't depend to them, the fortune, and they have a lot of fear too as well. So shout out to you guys. And we're seeing right now also that we on the startup scene here in Venezuela. So remember this when you are, if you are from abroad and you come to Venezuela. Survivorship bias is a thing that happens all over the world, but in Venezuela it's very particular, so keep that in mind. Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.